Hey family, welcome back. Thank you so much for visiting. So today's 10-minute ministry is called Lions and Bears, oh my. The Holy Spirit led me to speak about David and specifically about the lion and the bear that he killed. And so the reason why I feel the Holy Spirit wants me to teach on this today is for all of you who are facing lions and bears in your life, and your situation seems like it's not changing and you feel like you're being punished by God. I want you to listen to this story so that you can pick up on the characteristics. Okay, note the words that I use to describe David, so that way you can take on those characteristics as well as you face the lions and bears in your life, and know that it is not punishment. David was the youngest of 8 sons. Being the youngest means he was also the smallest. And so what happens? You get picked on, but then also you're not well respected. So because of that, he was given the position as a shepherd. Okay, it's a lowly position. All you're doing is you're by yourself taking care of the flock. So it's a lowly position, but it's also a lonely position. But remember that God puts us in these positions for a reason. David being by himself, he had time to learn his flock. They know his voice. Sheep only move when they recognize their shepherd's voice. So he took the time to know who his flock is, know them, love them, have compassion for them. He spent time with them. He didn't go, oh, this is a boring position. This is a lowly position. I'm not going to do my job. I'm just going to let them wander off by themselves. No, he took care of them as a shepherd is supposed to take care of the flock. This time alone gave him a chance to develop his skills and develop his faith with God. And so sometimes your season that you're going through, you're like, God, I've been in this season for a long time. I've been suffering for so long. You need to ask God, what is it that you need me to learn? Help me to overcome it. Help me to see it. This time alone helped him to increase his love and compassion for his flock. All of this was to prepare him to become a king one day, which he had no idea at that time that he was going to be a king. So some of you guys are going through your season, going through facing your lions and your bears because you are being prepared for the next season. You're being prepared to accept the blessings, to accept the calling that you have on your life. Some people want it right now, but it's all about timing. You are not ready. You need to be tested. So one day a lion and a bear came, and it says it took one of the sheep. And so David could have ran. And I know that anybody else would have ran. And I know that most people would not be able to take on a lion and a bear. The person that we know that took on a lion was Samson. But he had the power of over 100 people. He was extremely powerful. David was just a little 15-year-old boy. But he did not run. He did not retreat. Instead, he faced the lion and the bear. And he said, I have to get my sheep, my lamb back. So he chased him. And then he was able to retrieve the lamb out of his mouth. And he grabbed him by his beard and he slew him, killed him, and then killed the bear. Now he didn't tell anybody about it, but God gave him the opportunity to do so. One day his father says, I need you to go and bring food to your brothers. He had 3 brothers that were fighting in the war. And bring this plate of cheese to the captains. David is obedient. Okay, he listened and he did as what his father instructed him to do. Now the Israelites had been standing up against the Philistines now for 40 days. Nobody would fight because Goliath is over 9.5 feet tall. And the average person back then was anywhere from 5 feet to 6 feet. So he was anywhere from 3 to 4.5 feet taller than anybody else. And he was taunting them. He was taunting them and he was making fun of them, and nobody would fight. It was 40 days that day. But God brought David when it was time for David to shine. He had proven himself worthy by killing that lion and that bear. He was brave, he had faith, and he was committed to his role as a shepherd. So then God upgraded him to a warrior. Remember that God does his testing, his probationary period, his transformation, his trials, and with the number 40. So remember that with Noah, it flooded and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses was at Mount Sinai with God for 40 days. Jesus fasted for 40 days. The Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. And so these Israelites had been up against the Philistines for 40 days until David showed up. And David heard himself the nasty things that the Philistine Goliath said. And Goliath also was mocking God. And that made David angry. So David asked them, what's going to happen to the man who defeats this Goliath? And so they said that this man will be well taken care of by the king. And then that man, his whole family, will be free in Israel. So David was not selfish. He thought about his family. He thought about the well-being of his family. And he knew his strength. He knew his God. And so he knew that if I can do this, my family will be well taken care of. Now, his older brothers rebuked him. Oh, you're just a young punk. You're naughty. You only came to see the fight. But it did not discourage him. He continued on in his mission, continued on with his confidence in himself and in his God. And so he starts talking to other people. He was not discouraged. Those other people then spoke to Saul, and Saul said, bring him to me. I need you to have this same confidence that David had when he spoke to Saul. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 32, he said, let no man's heart fail because of him, meaning Goliath. Thy servant, me, David, will go and fight with this Philistine. So then Saul says, no, you're not able to go up against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art nothing but a youth. And then this man is a man of war from his youth. He has killed a lot of people. But look, David remembered what God delivered him from. And David knew that God would do it again. So I want you to remember the things that God has pulled you through in the past. So don't be discouraged of what you're facing right now. Have confidence in God. Have faith in God and trust in God that he did it for me back then. He would do it for me again. So David said, thy servant kept his father's flock or sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. Verse 35, and I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he rose up against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. 36, thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them. Look at that confidence, seeing he had defied the armies of the living God. And remember this, I need you guys to say this. Say this verse every single day. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 37. The Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. So after Saul heard that, he said, okay, go ahead, go fight him. Saul placed a helmet and armor on David, but David had integrity. He knew he did not earn that armor, so he took it off. He said, I didn't earn this. All he took with him was 5 stones and a slingshot. And look, Goliath cursed at David and talked trash about God. And David said in 45, thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. So he shot a stone right to his head that has sunk to his skull, fell flat face down to the ground. And then David took a sword and cut his head off. And in 47, he says, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. This battle belongs to God. Give it to him and allow him to fight this for you. This lion and this bear has nothing on God. Remember that. Until next time.